Guys, before you rush off to the shops and get all your bog rolls and all your supplies for lockdown, how about we talk a bit of shit about the Tirana and what we've been doing the last few weeks. We've really hooked into the front end, the bonnet, and we wanted to get rid of that big hole in the bonnet, and we also wanted to cover the intake and cover everything so we didn't have a janky big elbow sticking out of the bonnet. So, and we also wanted to retain the nice Tirana, the original lines of the Tirana. So we actually cut down the original bonnet and we just peeled it up. Then we've added in some panels on the side. We got some aluminium, screwed it to the top, added a big bit of plywood to the back. Did it all here in house thanks to our mate Boris. He supplies us all our fiberglass stuff, and he also gives us a lot of the knowledge to make up this type of stuff. Otherwise we wouldn't know what we're doing. We play around with fiberglass, but we're no experts, and when we're doing something a bit trickier we always get advice off Boris. But yeah, we lifted this original part up, we made some panels, screwed it all down, and you can see the original line, that's where we lifted it up, so you can see the original body line. Then we've added a big bit of plywood in there, we screwed it all together, flipped the bonnet upside down, put 4 layers of fiberglass on the inside. You know, we put all plasticine on the edges to round everything off, and it turned out really mint. We're really happy with it. It just misses the intake, and really cool. You can still identify with the Tirana, and looks faster standing still. Don't know if you've seen the exhaust with all the body on. We've got really nice clearance, sort of hidden it in behind the bumper a little bit, so it's not fully no prepping out the side too much, but still looks pretty cool. We're happy with that. Same thing with where the pipes came out the side here. We've filled all that, and we did a similar thing. We just got a bit of 0.6 metal, bent it round the original shape, screwed it all in, fiberglass from behind, popped the tin off, 1 coat on the outside, and it just needs a tiny bit of filler, putty it up and paint it. Strong as. Always put a coat on the outside, otherwise you'll get fracture marks. So we did most of the building from behind and 1 coat on the outside, and that's a good one, job done. Same thing with the boot lid. We just laid the boot lid down on a bit of plywood, put 3 or 4 coats on the back to fill the holes, flipped it over, and once again 1 coat on the top, and then just blended in with some fine filler. That's pretty much all the holes to fill on the car done. Around the front here, we didn't want to have the big round hole in the front which could suck a small child in, so we've gone for a bit of a compromise with just we wanted to keep the badge and everything on the car, so we've got some air that can get in there, and we're going to put some fine black mesh on there, then re-airbrush everything. So the idea is to not be able to even notice that there's an intake there, but at the same time still get some air into the car. But yeah, we're sort of calling this the Usain Bolt look. You know, it's really slick Rick, really killer looking, but aerodynamic as hell. Where the old car, let's face it, it looked awesome. It was big, and it was black, and it was loud, and it was real Australia. But this is more the Joe Dirt, just big and bold and not very sleek, and so that's cool. But we're going for more of a slick look, and following that Usain Bolt theme, we're going to lose the bogan black and go for Barbados green, and that's going to freshen her up and follow the theme of what we do of our team. Also, another thing we do is when we get close on a build like this, we make a list. We put 15 jobs on the list and we tick them off, and then when them 15 are gone, we write another list. And you know, that's how you keep motivated, because you know you're making good progress. Otherwise you can get a little bit disheartened with. But there's $600 worth of fittings we fitted today, and made up all the lines, oil feed, oil return, a lot of boost lines, and yeah, it was really good to knock that off today.
Yep.
Yeah, so now with the bonnet off, you can see we've got the manifold on the car, and this was a real challenge that we faced with with the engine. We really wanted to make the blower manifold work, as this engine's not easy to get. They just don't make parts for this engine. You've got to get them custom made. So we wanted to utilise the blower manifold, and there were some challenges with that. But Todd Stacey at Rotomotion, you know, he overcame every hurdle that we put in front of him. We said we wanted a nice angled top on it. It had to be obviously enough to take 40-50 pounds. We wanted a front mounted throttle body, and we also wanted these huge injectors somehow squeezed in there, and he came through 100% with that deal. And just we've started doing all the fuel lines. We've got the coils mounted here, nice little coil mounts, nice short leads, and just really good clearance between all the pipes so they don't get burnt up. Still all keeping out of the way of the EGTs once they go in. And you just want to be able to get to your covers, get your covers off to be able to set your rockers with ease. No coils in the way or no leads to take off. You pop the cover off. None of these fuel lines have to be moved. You set your rockers, bang it back on, away you go. But you can see there was just a very small window to try and fit these huge double X injectors in. So these are 5500 injectors and 2400 Siemens Deckers. So basically almost 8,000 cc's of fuel per cylinder, and like your hotted up Commodore has 1,000. So that gives you an idea of the amount of fuel that we've got for this engine. You can never have too much fuel. But 8,000 cc's, and believe it or not, it was exactly $8,000 worth of injector. So not a cheap exercise, but that's, if you want to go fast, you've got to have the fuel, you've got to have the boost, and you've got to have a nice pump to hold it all together. So we think we've got that all sorted, and I'm just really happy with how everything's fitting up. Yeah, the coil, everything we mount, we try and get it near a bar, protect, a bit of protection, somewhere to run the wiring, getting it into the car instead of just hanging out in the open. The wideband sensor, same thing. Instead of having it out in the middle of nowhere where it could get knocked, we try to get it not up against the bar, but just somewhere with a bit of protection. And then also there's a place to run the wiring, cable tied up under there, keep it all nice and safe. The fuel, same with the fuel lines, turning away from getting over to somewhere nice and safe as quick as possible. Fuel pump. Another little hurdle we had, the original fuel pump extension was far too long. Got out near the pipe. We couldn't buy a shorter one. So Todd just said, no problem. He just grabbed a block of aluminium, turned it down, beautiful little piece, gives us the clearance we want. And yeah, to have guys like that can just whiz stuff up for you, it makes things real easy for us. Also the throttle cable. A lot of these deals will have a cable that comes over the top. It pulls from the back here and opens the throttle. We're not a big fan of that because in the past we've had cars, funny cars and stuff, where you can have a little shunt on the wall or get some tyre shake and the body moves and it ends up ripping on the throttle. So this throttle is all low mounted, away from any harm. That cannot foul on anything. And of course, a plenty good spring on it, Morse cable. This is not locked away in its right spot. This will be all under the rails and everything. But that's just a real out of the way, tidy looking deal. The cold side's actually all tacked together and just about to be welded, but we've got the plasma clamp. We've cut the original flange off, and the plasma clamp's going to be welded straight onto the turbo there. And that cold side's well on its way to being done. All these lines are all finished. These two have another two Siemens 2400s going straight into the intake tube. So that's the feed for them off the pressure reg. So that's all set up and ready to go. All the CO2 lines to the gates, they're all run. They're all done, finished. We've just got to put the screamer pipes back on. So absolutely screaming through it. The burn down tubes, that's an interesting thing. Usually on a blow-on engine, funny cars and some door slammers, this was facing the other way around. But the puke will come out of the burn down tube, it'll go into the chassis rail here. This is where it was fed into. And it actually gets forced up the chassis rail, through the car and out into the back where the puke tank is. So we're going to spin these around and maybe grab a feed from a little bit further back on the car. So This is the chassis rail here that the oil runs through to get to the puke tank. So we're thinking of just putting a little inlet here, little flexible line down in through there. So when the car wants to chuck its guts up, like most boosted cars do have a bit of a puke now and then, so that runs up the rails and then you drain your puke tank after every run. We've got all the VCUs all mounted, the can hub, the converter, the little converter box for the EGTs. This is the CO2 solenoid, so one will add air to the top of the hat and one will remove air from the top of the hat, and that's all done through the electronics. If we're targeting a certain amount of boost on the start line, these will be hard at work opening the gate to the correct, slowing the turbo down by getting an exhaust leak, and these guys just working flat out to make that happen. Really cool bit of kit. That's all done. We've got our keypads all mounted. That's on Zeus fastener, so if that ever needs to come out to have a play with, it's real easy to get to. We've got this car never had an onboard starter motor, so we've mounted a starter motor. We've got the flywheel there. We've checked for clearance. We've got 40 thou from the teeth grinding on the back edge there, so that's pretty cool. That's all done. The dash is mounted. Pretty much it's ready to, electrical wise, it's ready to go wiring. The transmission, all the parts are here for the transmission, and that's in its final stages of being built. And yeah, mounting all this haltech stuff was really easy. They supplied templates and bolt center little diagrams with the dash, with the keypad and the VCU. So you just basically tape your template onto your panel, center punch the holes. It makes everything really easy to mount up, and just real good gear. So yeah, real happy with how things are going in there. So around the back here, what I was talking about with the puke tank, these two lines here where the puke comes out of the chassis rail and into this tank. This tank's around about 16 litres, and this will hold all the. It's really a mixture. When you drain these things, it just comes out like a soup. It's predominantly fuel with a little bit of oil in it, but it's very important to drain this every run, because this is when you see these cars hemorrhaging out of the back. Is if you forget to drain that, it makes a mess on the track and holds everyone up. Also, there's two big breathers on the tank. You'll quite often see a door slammer will have a spout out the back, and you'll see the steam coming out of it. Well, that's what this is. It's just, with all that fuel and shit going into the tank, it causes a lot of condensation. It's not so much smoke, it's condensation and stuff. This car just does it inside through those vents, but if you wanted to, you could have them sticking out the back, and it'd just make everyone panic. So it's really, keep them in there and no one knows about it. It's probably better. The other big thing we've done is we've changed it from an LJ to an LC. Really hard job. We just unbolted the LJ tail lights, put in some LC tail lights, and airbrushed the grill into an LC, and that's it. Now we've got an LC. So it's all going really well, guys. We'll check in real soon with another update, and probably it might even be firing up next time.